Meeting. Janie, you want to do a roll call, please?
Dave M. Spoker,
Present.
Tom Beller. He did let me know that he was going to be absent today. Tamara Sitton-Coop. Here. Paul Gaines.
Here.
Brendan Nowmaster.
Here.
James Lorimer.
Here.
John Stutzman.
Here.
And we have a quorum.
Let's all rise for the pledge, please. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Has everybody had a chance to look over the minutes and review them? Is there any correction to the minutes? There being no corrections, could we have a motion?
I'll put a motion to approve.
There's a motion to approve. Is it seconded?
I'll second it.
Been moved and seconded that the minutes be accepted. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Ayes have it. Motion carries. Janie, is there anybody that wants to talk to us from the public?
We do not have any requests.
No requests? We'll move on to the action items. Promotion of airport and industrial park. As we had a good discussion last time, is there any additional discussion that we should be having?
Yeah, so a couple of things that I'm looking at is, I know air races was something that I had brought up previously. However, I think that due to the time constraints and the amount of logistical coordination between our airport and other airports, it's not going to be feasible to have something done by next year for that. So I'm going to start looking into doing like a air and auto ground show and possibly a pumpkin / flower drop. Just because, you know, if we're out of season for pumpkins, it kind of doesn't work. So, but flower would kind of probably be a good idea. You can get, you know, little baggies, put flour in them, and when they hit something, they go poof.
I think that's a great thing, but I'm not sure you're going to be able to get insurance for it. I know that EAA would not allow it and would
Well-
not cover it. I don't know about the city policy, but we have Mr. Breckenridge. Do you think the city would
I don't.
insure
see
a flower
us-
drop?
Chair, I don't see that the city will be in a position to do that, because what we're looking for is originally, or is my understanding, is you guys are looking for outside organizations to provide assistance with it. However, as my understanding reading this is something where that question is where he could go out there and do research and find out how other airports and other communities are offering or providing these events, and see how they're actually ensuring that and supporting it. So this is really something that right now is you just put forward what items you want to research and possibly look at doing, and see how we can implement and do those events.
Oh, I agree, we need to be, but that should be part of the research, is what insurance is available and what the cost would be.
Well,
Go
sorry.
ahead.
That's why I was saying I was looking into those two items, because if they were something that we could do, those are something that are more easily done on a shorter notice than something like an air race.
Also have to have the right kind of aircraft, like I couldn't do out of mine, of course. Can open the door and drop from mine. I don't know if yours can or not. I don't know.
No,
Okay.
no.
That's
Unless
just
I
a
had
thought.
somebody laying in the back using the cargo door.
Right. I mean, the airplanes are out there. I don't know if we have any on our airfield that can do that right now. I don't know.
Mainly, I think, just Cessnas, high wings.
The door the window can open up, right?
Yeah, the window can open.
Okay.
Does your airplane open? Have a,
No,
but you're a low wing as well.
low wing, I would have to have somebody, I could take the rear seat out and somebody lay in there and have the baggage door open and
Yeah,
somebody push that out. And across.
that's what I'd have to do as well.
Can't fly with yours open?
I'm not going to.
Thank
The only reason I wouldn't is because there's been occurrences where the canopy blew off. So, no.
Want a convertible?
Yeah, well, I can slide the canopy back when I taxi. But I'm not taking off or landing or flying with the canopy open. We've drifted off the subject, but,
I'd just like to say I really like the idea of the auto and aircraft. I think we could also like throw in some motorcycles there, because there's some pretty big motorcycle groups around here. And then
Yeah, I mean-
food trucks, you know, the whole bit, and I think that would get a lot more people in and, you know, kind of, I think that's a good idea.
I mean, sitting here thinking and listening to everybody, something that kind of popped in my head is maybe having some kind of like festival, like something aeronautically related, like an air festival or something, where it doesn't necessarily have to be, you know, the flying around air show, but it can be, you know, a bunch of different activities and stuff that's kind of put on, kind of like what they do for the Route 66 Fest, but something at the airport.
Can they bring drones out and play with drones? They can't do that, can they?
We really try to avoid flying drones over the actual airfield,
No.
and some drones actually have something that stops it. Now, there is ways where you could get around it.
I was just wondering, like, off the airfield, like if there's a section that
Yeah,
just to involve that, because there's groups. I was just thinking that's another group that could be brought into it, if it was, not on the ramp, but off, like, in the industrial park part.
and Commissioner, there is a way to do it. When it comes to those drone operations, I'm not 100% familiar with it, because those rules are always changing. I do work with certain construction companies to allow drones to survey sites, so that would be an item that could probably be researched to see if we could do something like that with one of our pieces of property that's not within the fence line.
I was just thinking it might be another way to add in another sector of the community to.
That could be a possibility. That has to be something that we need to take a recent look at.
at the previous Airfest, the last Airfest that took place, there were some members of the model aircraft group. In fact, I think there are two groups, and they had a display, but they weren't allowed to fly. Do you remember that, Paul?
Yeah, you wouldn't be allowed to, because the airport's not closed down for our Airfest. They never were. We didn't
Right.
have NOTAMs and stuff like that. Well, we had NOTAMs probably there was activity, maybe there were NOTAMs, I don't even recall, but they weren't, you know, there was no closed airspace where you could
No.
do that in.
No, there was no
at that
closed
time.
airspace.
Yeah.
And so all they did was they had their planes there to display.
Yeah.
And their field is on the north side of Route 66. And, probably a mile down the road, so that they don't interfere much with traffic landing on 17.
Chair?
Yes.
Real quick, going back to Commissioner Tammer's question. At one of my other general aviation airports I worked in the past, when it came to some type of event that we held there that was really nonprofit, not an air show, we did empty out a hangar, and we did have a drone air race inside that hangar.
Yeah, I was always thinking something maybe, you know, in the industrial park part where people could, because I was just thinking kids like that stuff.
Yeah.
So it would just be something to add another sector.
So
I like the car show and all that, but that'd be cool, and planes.
Yeah, sorry, that was one thing that was in the back of my library that I had to go through my Rolodex to get to. But there is ways to get some of this stuff done. It's just going to be doing research and trying to find out where that information is and how we can implement it. But doing some type of drone inside the industrial park, yeah, that is very much possible. We just got to comply with some rules of not, you know, exceeding certain amount of heights, and then
Yeah.
notifying the pilot community where these are gonna be, what's the restrictions, so forth, so it's very much possible.
So do you think you could continue researching and maybe finding, maybe communicate with the drones, the drone companies and, or not companies, but the clubs,
Yeah.
organizations?
So I can continue and bring back in the next meeting my findings, at least what I can find up to that point, and then we can go from there.
I like that idea. Anybody want to?
Yeah, maybe we could even get like the sheriff's department or something like that to like put a display on with their, because they do drones and do all that. Maybe, you know, like something official like that where the kids could really see the cops get involved and, you know, do their little show. I mean, you know, just ideas.
Oh, no, that's
Bring your
fine.
microphone and talk into it.
I'm sorry.
Someone texted me and said I can't hear.
Oh, okay, sorry about that. Yeah, I just thought that maybe, you know, if we could bring in another sector and like maybe possibly the sheriff's department or police department where they do have drones, you know, that type, bring that in, just things to get children more involved, because that's where you're, you know, get them excited about what's going on, and then also bring more information out to the industrial park about what's out there.
Yep. No, I like those ideas.
Anything else to,
So without being in this capacity, you know, Tim and I were talking about this a lot because we're working on our museum project and we want to promote it, of course. So we have some things that will be coming up, no dates and things yet, that we're going to be using, and they'll be similar to Airfest or maybe smaller events. But since he and I are working together all the time, we talk about it all the time. But I don't want to muddy the waters and cross, you know, because we're going to have having our own thing that's going to be happening out there as well. You will see more activity going on at the airport, you know, than there is now. And of course, you know, again, it takes money and takes time.
true?
So if anybody has a great big sponsor with a fat checkbook, just let us know. And let you know, someone can, you know, we can all search for money that way. So it takes bucks.
Yes, it does.
So
Any other comments on promotion of the airport and industrial park? Okay, moving on to reports.
Chair,
Yes,
I believe you have to do a call to action possibly to allow Vice Chair Lawmeister to pursue with his research with certain events on the airport.
say that all again.
Which event do you want to have a motion to research?
I think we still want to keep it, do research on an airfest and research on a car show, airfest, combination aviation, car show, maybe throw in motorcycles as well, and have it on display. They wouldn't be flying, we wouldn't need to shut down the airport, but we could have a show and tell for all three and invite the public out to look. One thing I recall that was always a big hit at the air shows or the air fest that we had was military equipment. And there is a military group in Las Vegas that has military vehicles, and they came and they set up a display of what bivouacking was all about. And since we have two members of our commission that were are in the military, I think that would be very good. And if you want to do some research on the flower drop possibility, flower bombing, I think that'd be fun, but I'm not sure that it would be cost effective with the cost of insurance.
So I guess I'm putting in a motion to continue research on Airfest Car Show, and a flower bombing.
Is there a second?
I'll second it.
Been moved and seconded that we continue to research car. You want to include airplanes and motorcycles in that motion?
Whatever I'm researching, that's all part of it, yes.
Okay. Car, motorcycle, and aircraft, and the flower bombing possibility. Signify by saying aye.
I,
Opposed? Motion carries. Now we'll go on to reports.
Good afternoon, Chair, Vice Chair, Commissioners. Just here to provide a quick update on the roads, Transport Way and Government Way. They settled on they received 4 different bid proposals. They were able to select one of the people from that. They will be presenting that contract and proposal to the council on January 6th, at which time, barring anything, we hope that they will approve that. Within 10 days, the contract should be executed, and they have 180 days to do both roads. They did come in under the grant amount, so we should be able to do both roads. Any questions about that? All right.
that's a well-needed improvement out there. That's a well-needed improvement out there.
It
It's
is.
pretty bad.
Those companies have voiced frustration on numerous occasions about how poor those roads are, and it's a total reconstruction of those 2 roads. I don't know if you guys have driven down them recently, but they're pretty darn bad. There's hardly any pavement left
I was gonna say,
at
it's
all.
barely a road.
Yeah, that's putting it nicely. The other update that I wanted to provide was that we are working on an economic impact report for the industrial park, and that should be completed, I'm hoping, somewhere in early spring, but we're working on getting all the numbers from the occupants there, both on the airfield side and the industrial park side. So it should show what everybody contributes to this community and how that plays out. So any questions about that? Awesome. I hope you guys have a fabulous afternoon and a very happy holidays.
I would like to tour some of the businesses at the industrial park. We've mentioned that before. Could you arrange a time when the commission or any commissioners that wanted to tour could go look at some of the facilities, so that especially those of us that are not as familiar with the industrial park, if you could.
There are certain rules that we have to abide by that are open law rules. So yes, we could make some arrangements. Specifically, I would like to know what companies you're interested in seeing and visiting, and then we can go from there and making those arrangements. But outside of the meeting,
Yeah.
call me. You have my number.
I know that I've asked before, and
I haven't gotten a specific request for a specific company.
no,
So
you're right, it hasn't been a specific company, but,
happy to make those arrangements for you.
okay, thank you. We'll be in touch.
Thank you.
I think we lost the Zoom.
We'll have to figure out companies we will look at.
You still see us? Okay, I can't share, but, for the airport, monthly report. For the, airport development, that is going into, I believe, executive session tomorrow with city council to provide them with an update. But we are still working on that contract at this present time. For the major projects at the airport, Taxiway Bravo, everything is done. We're waiting on the as-built for that project and the final closeout documentation, where hopefully we'll get everything closed out by January and be completely done with that project with final payments. Taxiway Delta rehab and reconstruction. We're still sitting at the 75% review. We have some changes that need to be made into the actual layout of the electrical for the taxiway edge lights, because we are going to have to shift a lot of items around to meet the new federal compliance of 90-degree angles for all taxiways. So we did notice that. We're also going to make some adjustments to the stormwater due to other requirements. We have issued a request, or we're going to issue a request for exemption for a couple of items because they're really not too severe. There's some catch basins that are going to be just barely inside some of the safety zones, but it shouldn't be that big of an issue. Hopefully we'll get the blessing on that, and that would save us a lot more money than moving entire catch basins. On the other hand, this project, due to its size, is probably going to take another year of our entitlement or / our funds to be built up. Right now, the FAA is only estimating about $1.3 million a year going to the airport for these large scale projects. So this is going to be about a $5 million project. So what we're going to end up doing is saving up a couple of years, and then that will be for the first half of this project, and then saving up for a couple of more years, and that will be for the second half of the project, and using that to tap into this project in the future. So even though the designs may be sitting at 90% done, it's going to be like that until all the funds can build up, because these projects are very expensive and very large. Because this is not going to be your typical mill and fill. This is going to be completely ripping up some sections of our asphalt, removing it completely, and basically shifting entire sections of taxiways over.
Doug, is this a normal thing that's going on right now with the having to wait, or is there less funds available right now, and that's why we're having to wait?
This right here for these larger scale projects, I've known for these large scale projects, this have occurred for years and years and years, since I've been in the industry. Is it being a little bit more difficult? I want to say that, and I may be wrong here, but I think the FAA is still using a formula since 1978 when it comes to figure out the funds of these projects. So it's a little bit out of date from my personal perspective as being an airport manager. The FAA needs to find, and Congress need to find a way to update this.
Okay.
But the airport's lobbyist firms and so forth are on this to try to push and pry and get the government to make some changes. But being the federal government, it often takes a while.
Okay.
Do any of these new changes disrupt the timeline on any of the projects that are currently moving forward?
It is. It is going to upset a lot of other projects, especially the ramp project that we're trying to push and get the feds to fund. That's a $4.8 million project. That's going to further push that project out. It's going to further push other lighting projects out. So just be aware, unless there's some changes in the federal funds and other grants, it's just going to push stuff out. It's the unfortunate thing whenever you're relying on federal funds.
Do we have funding available that we consider that's available to do like ongoing crack sealing on the ramp and that kind of stuff too in the meantime?
That is us
Okay.
on the airport side. We did have one group out today that was doing an assessment to give us come back with some estimates for filling in cracks.
Okay.
Wincombe project, we do have the FAA grant on that. Well, I'm going to go ahead and tie both these projects. Wincombe and NAVA projects, we both received federal funds for those. We're waiting on the ADOT funds. A few weeks back, we emailed ADOT asking them what's the status on their share of these projects, their match, especially for the Wincombe project. As soon as we get the ADOT's match in grant, then we go to council with that plus the contract to get those wing cones moved outside the safety area and object-free area. They have some issues with their system. They apologize for it, but they said they're working on it. As soon as their numbering system for their grant project is working properly, then we could expect those grants. Sweeper, we're estimating or crossing our fingers that goes out for procurement to city council next month for a brand new sweeper for the airfield.
I've had a number of people asking why the sweeper's spending so much time going back and forth on taxiway Bravo. I don't know how often it's going up and down Bravo, but they seem to think it's often. And that's a brand-new taxiway. Is there,
Bravo's a little bit of a different issue. That's some of those businesses in there that are crossing into the dirt and coming back across where they're dragging dirt and rocks back onto the taxiway. We asked them to go around, but some of their staff members looking around saying, since nobody's here, I'm going to do it anyways. And we also do have a set schedule where we say for this time of the week, you sweep this section, for this time you sweep this section, and this time you sweep this section. Some of the morning crews that go out, if they see a lot of FOD congregate in one area, then they're supposed to direct or at least address the issue with some of these other locations as is, such as if Delta 4 is in a bad position, then they're supposed to notify somebody who's certified with the sweeper to go out there first thing in the morning and start sweeping it.
thank you.
Yeah, it is a big change for these companies that are used to driving all over the place out there, a couple of them on my end, and didn't have to worry about it up until now when it's nice and clean new asphalt and you can see tire tracks all over the place.
Old habits are hard to break.
Yeah. Yes, they are.
It doesn't. I don't want to sit back and say they're deliberately doing it. I just think that everybody, since you've done it so long, and that is correct, Commissioner Gaines, that you just get used to it. It's a difficult habit to break.
Thank you. That gives me some response to their questions.
But you have told all the businesses that do have stuff out there to try to go around, right?
That's what was happening whenever we're doing the construction. Please go around. Please go around.
Do they think now that the construction's over that it's okay, or was there any like separation of that, or was it all just don't do it anymore, period?
It's just education. That one's a very difficult one to police just due to location and due to the type of job. So it's really just trying to educate. That's all that you really can do in that section. Now, if we ever get to an agreement with these consultants or with these developers, then that entire section of the airfield's going to change, and that's going to be far less of an issue. Hangar A, we're still into negotiations for that RFP for that building regarding mandatory improvements and other proposed improvements to the building. For 4650 Flight Line Drive, the environmental was submitted a couple of months back to the FAA. We're waiting on them to come back with the approval of the category exclusion and with the ALP update. With that, then we give them permission to start breaking ground, show us all their improvements and start breaking ground, all their permits, and allows them to start breaking ground. We have another project that's not on here that was just recently brought up and is moving forward fairly fast, is upgrades to the VOR communications. Our VOR, for our non-pilots out there, assists pilots with navigating in the air. Granted, today, majority of pilots, they're either VFR, visual flight rules, or they use GPS. VOR is kind of used as a secondary backup at this point in time. The FAA decided to go ahead and upgrade our VOR. That's going to be running new fiber optics out to the VOR, because the older not coaxial cable, but the old copper cables are just going to be slowly phased out. This is an expedited process. So in the future, we will be communicating with our pilots once we have a date when this work is going to occur. We're trying to minimize shutdown all much. If there is shutdown of both runways, we did do the request of doing that at night, just so we could keep our pilot community moving. But on the other hand, for the most part, from looking at the building, boring and so forth, and the setup, it looks like it's going to be outside the object-free areas and safety areas, so it should do minimum impact to closures. FAA land lease in the industrial park. We submitted a letter of request for a land release. The FAA reviewed it. So far, they approved the final version, so that is definitely moving forward. And it's very, very positive. I don't want to jump ahead and say any dates just yet, because that often bites people. But I'm getting excited. And now when people go inside my office, it's no longer a grief-stricken face with doom and gloom and more work. It's actually smiling. It's a lot of smiling, and I just said this one dark cloud that's been looming over my head since I came here at to the city is now look like it's going to pass. So I'm getting very positive about it. Hangar occupancy. We still got 6 on the wait list for Hangar A. B and C, we have 7 on the wait list. All are full. Hangar D, we have 1 available at this present time. And then cover tie downs, all 10 are leased and occupied with 0 on the wait list. For revenue, total airport revenue, we have $481,780 in airport revenue. A little over $60K for the industrial park, for a total of $542,138 in total revenue so far as of October. For expenses, for the airport, we're at $702,000, $552 in expenses, only 30% of our total operation and maintenance budget. For the industrial park, $4,600, only 4.5% of that, for a total of $707,152 in total use of our O&M budget. Please keep in mind that a lot of this is also encumbrance, which means for, let's say, for the lobby group, which is around $100,000, we already taken that money out of the budget and set aside, even though they haven't billed us for it. We went ahead and took that out because that's encumbered, along with other projects. Large projects that's ongoing in studies, we take that money out, we go ahead and remove it out of the budget and count that as encumbered. So even though it's looking like we're $200,000 over our budget, a little over $200,000, I'm honest with you, probably towards the end of the year, it's going to drop and level out a lot more. For total fuel sales, this is our total fuel sales compared to last year. Yeah, it's starting to slowly balance out. We even went back into further records, and we saw that even just around COVID, this is where it'll sit at fuel sales. So we're starting to see it normalize again from all that cash injection after COVID when everybody else was flying around and feeling happy. Now this all suddenly turned into let's kind of slow it down a little bit. That's understandable. That's everywhere inside the market. So that's what our research has been seeing when we went back to past fuel sales. It's kind of starting to balance out. Any questions?
Yes, in terms of airport aircraft storage, it looks like we don't have nearly as many commercial airliners being stored. Do you know what the numbers are on that?
It's probably in the mid, if I'm kind of running off the back of my head, it's in the mid 200s. We did have that influx after COVID, which was due to everybody stopped flying. They started laying off pilots, expecting another mass recession, but nobody planned on our economy bouncing back. So the mass amount of storage on the airfield is definitely going to shrink. We're projecting it to keep shrinking, probably where we're going to go back to about upper 100s range once everything settles down. But a lot of our aircraft are going back into service or being sold off to other countries.
So that's going to have a negative effect on our income.
Yes, sir.
Thank you. Any other questions? Okay. Let's move ahead to announcement by commissioners. Commissioner Gaines, do you have anything to say?
No, sir, nothing.
Vice Chairman.
I do not.
Commissioner Larimore.
Not for me.
Commissioner Stutzman.
Nothing from me.
Do you have anything?
Merry Christmas.
Am I the only one? Okay. Last November, the EAA chapter flew children in Bullhead. It was kind of a overcast day, but Commissioner Stutzman and I and a couple other pilots managed to fly 37 kids around Bullhead, and it was a successful day. Also, the EAA we invited the Air Force down in October, but with the shutdown, they weren't able to come, but they did come and put on a presentation about aircraft collision avoidance in the air and how to fly through MOAs safely. And it was good. We had representatives from Nellis Air Force Base and Luke Air Force Base, and they were very, very glad to be here, and we were glad to have them. It was also credited for the Wings program for pilots. It's always good to get continuing education. That was held at our monthly meeting last on the 6th of December. Any requests for future reports and updates? Don't everybody speak at once.
I'm just looking forward to the industrial park one.
I am too. I'll entertain a motion for adjournment. This is a record short meeting.
I'll put a motion into adjourn.
Been moved
I'll second it.
and seconded that we adjourn. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
One more thing, I'd like to thank Council Member Keith Walker for attending. It's always good to see a council member interested in what's going on, so thank you.